Amazing twins save unconscious stranger. Discover his incredible secret as a billionaire CEO. Mia and Max had always been a captivating pair. Not just identical twins, but a force of nature fueled by ambition and an unwavering work ethic. On this bright Saturday afternoon, their muscles burned with energy as they jogged along their usual route through the town's park, a sanctuary of laughter, barking dogs, and sun-drenched memories. The familiar scenery blurred as they pushed forward, both enveloped in their own thoughts. Suddenly, the tranquility shattered. A frail voice called for help, leading them to an unconscious man slumped on a bench, his high-end suit starkly contrasting with the worn fabric of community life. It was Tyler Grant, the infamous CEO, his fame built on ruthless ambition. As they knelt to check for a pulse, conflicting emotions crashed within Mia. "He's just a man, right? Like anyone else," she murmured to Max, eyes wide with hesitation. Max, eyebrows furrowing with skepticism, held back. They grew up bearing the weight of their family's hard-won values: truth, diligence, integrity. Did this billionaire, known for bulldozing every competitor in his path, embody the same spirit? How could someone so driven fall in such a public space, a spectacle against their humble upbringing? As Mia pressed her palm against Tyler's chest, feeling the rhythm of life beneath her fingers, memories flooded her mind. Their parents tirelessly toiling, the kitchen flooded with promises about building futures built on pure grit. Beyond the man in his tailored suit laid a conflicting narrative of greed, or was it more than that? A boy, perhaps much like them, rising from the ashes of poverty. Uncertainty choked her thoughts. Who was the man before them? Did righteousness fuel ambition, or did ambition suffocate righteousness? "Breathe, Tyler," Max urged, panic twisting in his own stomach. He felt caged in an anxious cyclone of doubt and judgment, yet something unspeakably human tugged at his heart. Did they want to save a life that came at the cost of their grandfather's dreams, a struggling business stifled years ago by similar greed? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The ambulance's sirens cut through the mounting tension as the twins faced an internal earthquake of questions. Should they mend their family name or pry into the tangled web of his past? The thought rattled them. In the moments spent reviving him, they peeled back his layers, unraveling a strange connection. It stirred emotions they hadn't intended to confront. Were they meant to restore justice or help resurrect a man whose previous choices crushed dreams? As Tyler regained consciousness, their resolve wavered amid the certainty of their own upbringing. What if his story was as heart-wrenching as theirs? The newfound dilemma left them grasping at the frayed edges of their beliefs. With every secret shared, the stakes heightened. The illusion of a clean path to success began to fracture, replacing clarity with chaos. What if seeking a legacy meant wrestling with the ghost of what they stood against? Caught in a relentless storm of inner conflict, Mia and Max exchanged nervous glances, the path dissolving into countless uncertainties. What defines success, and at what cost does it come? A haunting echo lingered as the ambulance drew closer, their fates entwined in a web they had only just begun to unravel. As Tyler stirred back to consciousness, his eyes fluttered open. He was disoriented, struggling to focus on the faces hovering above. The moment felt surreal. The weight of their decision pressed heavily upon Mia and Max. Their bodies instinctively moved closer to the man whose name echoed through the halls of wealth, a name that represented everything they had been taught to despise. "Tyler, can you hear us?" Mia's voice trembled, laced with concern and an undercurrent of confusion. The irony of the situation twisted her insides. Here they were, possibly saving someone whose ambition had shattered dreams. "What happened? Where am I?" His voice was hoarse, a mere shadow of the authority he once commanded. "We called for help. Max interjected, his voice steady despite the turmoil swirling in his mind. "You collapsed. We're here for you." In that moment, Mia was caught off guard by the vulnerability she saw in Tyler's expression. It was an odd juxtaposition to the fierce businessman she had known only through articles and sensational stories. Did vulnerability not make him weaker, but instead more human? Her thoughts spiraled down a path she never expected to tread. Tyler's voice faltered, revealing a hint of weakness that was both refreshing and unnerving. "I need to get back. I have responsibilities." The rush of urgency in his words triggered something deep within Mia. Responsibilities. He was just like them, she realized, caught in the relentless machinery of expectations and ambitions, fueled by the same relentless fire that had driven them through every challenge. But at what cost? The ambulance arrived with a loud screech, but the twins felt frozen, an invisible thread binding them to the man who had become enmeshed in their internal struggle. As the paramedics approached, Max glanced at Mia, both of them now wrestling with their thoughts. Were they prepared to confront this paradox of ambition that Tyler represented? The medics took Tyler away, but Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. She felt a whisper of an idea, a flicker of all the doubts and questions swirling inside her. What if their journey was not just about saving one man, but about exploring the deeper meanings of their own aspirations, values, and the compromises that came with success? That night, lying in her bed, Mia replayed the events in her mind. The man they saved wasn't merely a billionaire on a pedestal. He embodied the complexities of success, ambition, and the moral ambiguity that came with it. Max lay in the next room, equally restless. They both found themselves at a crossroads, vibrating with a sense of urgency. What if they were meant to dive deeper into this tangled web rather than drift away from it? Mia felt a burgeoning determination rise within her. They had encountered a living enigma. If they could understand the contradictions behind Tyler's destiny, perhaps they could redefine their own paths, not as a shadow of their family's ideals, but as architects of their own narratives. "Mia?" Max's voice broke through the stillness. "What are we going to do next?" "It's time we find out who Tyler really is," Mia replied, a blend of excitement and apprehension threading through her tone. As they formulated a plan to reach out to him, both felt the weight of their decision enveloping them. They were no longer merely spectators, but active participants in a story far grander than themselves, one that would challenge every belief they had ever held. As they anticipated their next move, an uncharted path lay ahead, fraught with possibility and self-discovery. The next morning, armed with determination and curiosity, they headed to the hospital where Tyler was being treated. Would they uncover the truth behind the man? Or would the revelation shake the very core of their understanding about ambition and ethics? Their heartbeats raced. The moment they had been preparing for was finally within their grasp. The fluorescent lights of the hospital blared overhead, creating a sterile and impersonal atmosphere that felt almost suffocating. Mia and Max walked through the sterile corridors, their thoughts preoccupied with an urgency that mirrored the quickening of their heartbeats. Each step brought them closer to a truth they felt ill-prepared to confront, but they knew they had to see it through. "What if he refuses to talk to us?" Max's voice was low, laced with a mix of hope and fear. "What if he just dismisses us as some charity case?" Mia considered this, her mind flitting through the many facets of Tyler's public persona. Or what if he opens up? What if he's as lost as we are, trying to navigate through expectations that come with his position? The uncertainty weighed heavily on them. They had, until now, regarded Tyler as a character defined by his wealth and power, but the events of the previous day had shattered that perception. He was a real person, not just a name that represented a million headlines. As they approached his room, anxiety coiled in Mia's stomach. They were greeted by a nurse, who informed them that Tyler was stable, but still recovering. "I don't know if he'll feel up to visitors," she cautioned. "Just a few minutes," Mia implored, determination flickering in her eyes. "We need to talk to him." The nurse relented, gesturing them toward the door. They stepped into the dimly lit room where Tyler lay, his pallor contrasting sharply against the white sheets. He glanced up, his eyes heavy yet alert. "Tyler," Mia started, her voice a mixture of courage and vulnerability. "It's us, Mia and Max. We want to talk." Tyler's expression shifted, a hint of recognition mingling with skepticism. "About what? My empire? My failures?" he asked bitterly, struggling to sit up. Max stepped forward, his demeanor softening. "No, not about that. We want to understand you. The person behind the headlines." The challenge, the direct confrontation, was invigorating. Mia felt the gravitational pull of his pain and uncertainty. Tyler's vulnerability, once a source of discomfort for her, was now a thread pulling her deeper into the complexities of human ambition. "Do you really think you want to know?" Tyler's words were edged with sarcasm, but she detected an undercurrent of something softer. Fear, perhaps. "Yes," Mia replied, her voice steady. "We want to understand why you do what you do. We've been impacted by you in ways we didn't expect." Max nodded, echoing her sentiment. "We're at a crossroads ourselves. You seem to embody everything we believed was wrong with ambition, yet there might be more to you." As silence enveloped the room, Tyler's gaze shifted away, his thoughts clearly a battlefield. "You know my successes," he finally said. "The wealth, the power. But what you don't see is the loneliness. I built this empire only to find myself isolated at the top." Mia and Max exchanged glances, realizing this wasn't just about uncovering the truth behind Tyler. It was about understanding the very nature of ambition itself. "How do you cope with that?" Mia's voice was softer now, drawing closer to the heart of the matter. "It's not easy." Tyler's voice cracked slightly. "I thought success would fill the void, but it only widened it. I've made choices I regret, sacrifices I never thought I would." In that instant, Mia sensed a connection, a shared understanding of the pressures that come with pursuing dreams. She didn't realize how much she had longed for this moment until it was right in front of her. The conversation had shifted. It was no longer about exploration, but transformation. As Tyler spoke more of his past, recounting both triumphs and failures, Mia felt an awakening within herself. She began to question her own values amidst her pursuit of success. By the time the nurse returned, it was clear that their encounter was more than just a simple visit. It was a pivotal moment, revealing depths they had never anticipated. Stepping outside the room, Mia looked at Max, her heart thrumming with excitement and fear. If we can learn from him, we can reshape everything we believe. Max took a deep breath, weighing the implications of their newfound knowledge. But what if we discover he's not the only one with regrets? What if we have to make sacrifices too? They lingered in the hallway, both aware that the journey they were embarking on would test their beliefs and aspirations in ways they had never imagined. "Now that we've caught a glimpse of his truth, we can't turn back," Mia whispered, an ember of resolve igniting within her. "The deeper we go, the more we risk everything we thought we knew." As they prepared to re-enter Tyler's world, one question loomed large. What other secrets lay buried beneath the surface, waiting to alter the course of their own ambitions forever? Mia paced in the hospital corridor, her mind racing with the implications of what Tyler had shared. Each word echoed in her thoughts, creating a dissonance between her aspirations and the harsh realities of success. She felt the weight of ambition pressing down on her, its allure now dulled by the stark possibility of isolation and regret. "What's next?" Max asked, breaking through her reverie. His voice held a sense of urgency, punctuating the tension that had built since their conversation with Tyler. Mia took a deep breath, striving to articulate a plan that felt solid and right. "We need to dig deeper, not just into Tyler's journey, but into our own. I thought ambition was a straightforward path, but now it feels more like a labyrinth." Max leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Are we really willing to go through that? To confront our own failures and fears? His skepticism mirrored the shadow of doubt creeping into Mia's resolve. "It's not about whether we want to confront it. It's about whether we're ready to accept what we find," she replied, the determination in her voice mingling with uncertainty. Tyler's story had ignited something indefinable within her. It was an invitation to introspect, to unravel the thread of her own aspirations. She realized the journey ahead would stretch her beyond comfort, forcing her to examine the choices she had made and to confront the person she had become. "I think we should ask him more questions," she suggested, the idea unfolding rapidly in her mind. "If he's willing to share his vulnerabilities, there might be lessons waiting for us in those regrets." "Just like that? We'll waltz back in there and pry into his life?" Max raised an eyebrow. "Why not? He already showed us a glimpse. Perhaps there's more he's hiding, more that can help us." Mia felt the thrill of potential, yet with it came a realization that their approach would demand both courage and vulnerability. They had to be prepared for the truths they might uncover, not just about Tyler, but ultimately about themselves. "We can't keep seeing him only as a billionaire," she said, her voice steady. "He's a complex human being. He might see us as we see him too, layers beneath the surface." Max nodded slowly, as if contemplating the moral territory they were about to navigate. "And if he refuses? What if digging deeper exposes a side of him we're not prepared to face? Then we handle it. We stay compassionate but firm. This is about understanding, not judgment," Mia asserted, a spark of confidence lighting her features. The desire to unearth the complexities of ambition coursed through Mia. It stirred her sense of purpose, igniting a fire she had almost forgotten existed. She imagined herself grappling not just with Tyler's failures, but grappling with her own expectations. "Let's do it then," Max finally said, the resolve in his voice strengthening her spirit. They returned to Tyler's room, where the muted sounds of medical machinery filled the space. Mia's heart raced as she prepared to confront the very essence of what she feared, the truth behind ambition and the sacrifices that come with it. When they stepped inside, Mia was determined not to shy away from difficult questions, or from facing the collateral beauty and pain that came with honesty. "Tyler," she began, deliberate and focused, "can we talk more about the choices you've made, the ones you regret?" He looked at her, a flicker of hesitation clouding his eyes. "Are you sure you're ready for that?" Mia's pulse quickened. The gravity of the moment bore down upon her, but beneath it lay a certainty. "We need to know. We need to understand what ambition can cost." As Tyler opened his mouth to respond, anticipation thrummed in the air, and in that instant, Mia realized she was not just seeking answers for herself or for Max. She was seeking authenticity in a world painted in shades of power and loneliness. "Then let's begin," Tyler said, a mixture of reluctance and acceptance wrapping around his words, drawing them in deeper, where revelation awaited on the edge. What would emerge from this confrontation? The darkness of regrets or the light of unexpected lessons? Mia felt that her own perspective would shift profoundly before the hour was through. As Tyler began to recount the difficult choices he faced throughout his journey, the very air in the room thickened with tension. Mia leaned forward, her heart pounding as she sensed the depth of his pain intertwined with the wisdom he might share. Each word he articulated would be a potential map, guiding her not only to understanding him, but also revealing the labyrinth of her path. "Ambition," Tyler started, his gaze fixed on a point beyond them. "It's a merciless companion. When I first started, it felt like climbing a mountain, each step higher bringing me closer to the summit. But the higher I climbed, the more I realized I was leaving a lot behind." The way he spoke stirred something in Mia. She felt herself slipping into his narrative, tracing along the contours of his experiences. "What did you leave behind?" she asked, threading vulnerability into her inquiry. "The friendships, the time with family. Days lost in the pursuit of success that will never be regained." Tyler paused, letting his words settle like stones dropped into water. "And the solitude that comes with being at the top? It's suffocating." Mia's mind raced. His admission echoed the fears she had been wrestling with, inseparable from her ambitions. In the back of her mind, she recalled late nights spent pursuing accolades, shoving aside friends who fell by the wayside. Max shifted slightly, absorbing Tyler's words, perhaps experiencing his own reflections. "Did you ever think about turning back?" Max asked, his voice barely above a whisper, breaking the weighty silence. "Every day," Tyler replied, his voice raw. But it often feels like you're on a roller coaster. You get strapped in, and it's too late to change the ride. The imagery resonated fiercely with Mia. She felt the thrill of the climb, but also the undeniable fear of the drop's consequences. The knives of ambition cut both ways, she realized, and in Tyler's success lay a lesson of caution. What would you do differently? She pressed, leaning into the moment as though it were the most significant opportunity of her life. This was her moment of discovery, not just of another's regrets, but the chance to hold a mirror to her own choices. I would have prioritized people over profits, he said slowly. Life isn't just about what we gain, it's about who we share our success with. I've accumulated wealth, but... He hesitated, emotion washing over him. I've lost a good portion of who I am along the way. Mia felt a pang of recognition. His experiences painted a picture she had not fully comprehended. The cost of ambition was not merely financial, it was deeply personal too. Silently, she began to reassess her own ambitions, each dream intertwined with shadows of potential sacrifice. Do you think it's possible to achieve your ambitions without those sacrifices? Can we redefine success? She asked, the question a tentative step into unknown territory. Tyler looked at her intently, considering. It requires relentless courage and a commitment to authenticity, he replied. You must remain grounded in your values, even if the world around you tries to shift them. If you can navigate that, you have a fighting chance. His words wrapped around Mia like a guiding hand, urging her to embrace a more nuanced definition of success. Max cleared his throat. Is it too late for you? I thought so, Tyler admitted, but it's never too late to rebuild what's lost if you're willing to confront the past and work for the future. Mia's mind churned with determination. Each shared regret, each elucidating truth chipped away at her fear, replacing it with untamed courage. She realized Tyler's journey could become her catalyst, not for a career measured in titles, but for fulfilling relationships cultivated to last. In that fleeting moment of vulnerability, as the tension ebbed, she grasped the reality that personal growth was an ongoing evolution. The confrontation with Tyler had begun to mold her perception, not just of ambition but of life itself. Ready to explore the new dimensions of her ambitions, Mia felt change bubbling within her, a chance to reclaim what could be salvaged, striking a balance between success and connection. But her tangible sense of purpose was immediately tinged with doubt. What if we fail? She found herself asking aloud, her vulnerability creeping back in. As Tyler considered her question, the room fell silent, charged with the weight of unknown futures, leaving Mia teetering on the precipice of action and hesitation. Then we owe it to ourselves to learn and try again, he finally said, a glimmer of hope amidst uncertainty. With renewed intention flickering in her chest, Mia felt the whirlwind of her ambitions blending into a clearer vision. The hour hadn't just been about unraveling Tyler's journey, it had reshaped her own path in profound ways. Let's redefine ambition, Mia said, the conviction in her voice rising anew. With the simmering uncertainties riding alongside her resolve, she sensed something deeper was yet to be uncovered. What would emerge when they stepped out of this confrontation and into the world that awaited, with all its lingering doubts and expectations? Mia sat quietly for a moment after Tyler's final words, the room buzzing with unspoken possibilities. She felt a dawning realization that this conversation was both an ending and a beginning, the end of her passive acceptance of ambition as a solitary pursuit and the beginning of a more deliberate, interconnected journey through her goals. Max broke the silence with an uneasy shift in his chair. So what's the plan? How do we actually redefine ambition? His tone was cautious, almost reluctant, as if challenging them to back their words with actions. Mia inhaled deeply, allowing the air to fill her lungs like a fresh canvas, ready to be painted upon. It starts with recognizing our motivations, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Why do we want what we want? Is it for the accolades or something deeper? Tyler leaned forward. That's the crux of the matter. You need to dissect your ambitions. Once you know your why, you can form a strategy that accommodates your values. The discussion morphed into a brainstorming session. Ideas floated around like fireflies, illuminating paths previously obscured by the shadows of fear and doubt. Mia's mind raced as she considered possibilities, side projects that integrated her passion for community engagement into her corporate ambitions, cultivating partnerships that would elevate her work while keeping her grounded. Tyler challenged her to think critically. What if you partnered with local businesses to provide opportunities rather than simply competing against them? The suggestion struck her. You're right. Collaboration can be a powerful tool. I could help them create more visibility while growing my network. It's not just about me, it's about elevating others. She began jotting down thoughts in the notebook she always carried, each line responsive to the rush of clarity she felt, each idea promising a step toward her newly articulated ambitions. Max interjected, a glint of enthusiasm igniting in his eyes. What about using tech to connect with them? It could be something as simple as creating an app to help local startups and your audience find one another. Everyone could benefit. The visualization fired her resolve. The idea evolved in her mind, a platform not just for networking but also for local shared projects, mentoring, and events. Mia marveled at how the conversation had shifted the landscape of her thoughts. By shifting her view from gaining to giving, she had sparked a blaze of innovation. Yet, in the back of her mind, doubts lurked. No plan is without pitfalls, and the prospect of actual execution filled her with anxiety. What if I don't have the resources or the support? What if I fail in front of everyone? Tyler intervened with a calm authority that pierced her insecurities. Failure is simply feedback. It tells you where to pivot, where to grow. The only way to fail completely is to not try at all. His words pushed her further along the precipice of risk. She knew she needed to embrace discomfort if she wanted to carve a new path. That's it, Mia said, a spark ignited inside her. What if I treat every setback as a lesson? Each failure can refine my approach, making me better equipped for the next step. Max nodded, visibly impressed. What about building a community around these changes, sharing the journey, ups and downs, as you go? Mia's pulse quickened with excitement. Yes, I could document my progress, inspire others to redefine their own ambitions as well. A clarity settled upon her mind like a gentle shroud. She could no longer hide behind the wall of isolation that success had created. Okay, let's do this, she declared, resolution thick in her voice. I will launch this venture with authenticity. It's a commitment to myself and to those whose lives I seek to elevate. As they left the room, Mia felt the weight of her aspirations surprisingly lightened. Each step felt charged with potential. The walls and doubts that had once confined her now expanded into a horizon filled with possibility. But just as she stepped into the fresh air, an unexpected thought flickered in her mind. While her plans formed a clear picture, what impact would individuals from her past, who had sacrificed their presence for her ambitions, have on this journey? Would they accept her new vision? The questions loomed, unresolved yet vital, as she faced the world outside, ready but uncertain of what awaited her next. Mia stepped out into the refreshing air, the weight of her ambitions transforming into a palpable energy. However, beneath her exhilaration flickered remnants of doubt, questions resonating louder than before. The prospect of reaching out to those from her past gnawed at her, shadowing her newfound resolve. Could she truly redefine her purpose in their presence? Would they understand that her journey was no longer a solo endeavor? Questions sprouted like weeds, threatening to choke the growth she had cultivated during her conversation with Tyler and Max. As Mia walked the familiar path toward her favorite cafe, she couldn't shake the feeling of being caught between two worlds, one fueled by her burgeoning vision and the other marked by the personal sacrifices that had brought her here. Thoughts raced back to her college days when friendships flourished amidst shared dreams. Yet those same dreams had drawn her away from those she once held close. Mia settled into a corner table. The ambience buzzed softly, a contrast to the storm brewing in her mind. She opened her notebook, its pages now filled with possibilities that sprung from collaborative insights. But the ink felt heavy. Her hand hovered over the page. What should she write when the most pressing thoughts weren't tangible? After a few moments lost in contemplation, she decided first to draft a plan, not just logistics of her project, but a genuine roadmap of how to reconnect. Her past relationships had been discarded like autumn leaves, beautiful once, but now merely remnants of a life she left behind. "Mia?" A familiar voice startled her. It was Sarah, an old friend who had taken a different path post-college. Mia's heart raced. Sarah had always embodied the social spirit Mia had absorbed herself from, and their golden years had been rich with laughter and support. "Hey, wow, it's been ages." Mia swallowed, nervousness clawing at her gut. "I was just passing by and thought I'd see you here. What are you working on?" Sarah's tone was cheerful, but Mia detected a hint of curiosity in her gaze. Mia grappled with whether to share the deeper ambitions blossoming within her, or adhere to the safety of surface-level chatter. "Oh, just some ideas for a project I'm launching," she said. For a brief moment she hesitated, pondering all the vulnerable details she could lay bare. The collaboration, the shift towards community-centric goals. But what if her old friends didn't resonate with this change? What if they were still ensnared in the past? "Sounds fascinating. You've always had great ideas," Sarah remarked. "I've been going through a lot of changes myself. We should catch up more often." Those words hit Mia like a lightning bolt. Change. In the past, they had shared dreams. Now, perhaps the challenging realities woven into their lives could spark a shared evolution. "Could I ask you something really quick?" Mia's voice caught, an ember of urgency whirling within her. "What would you think if I invited a few old friends to collaborate on this? Not just for me, but in a way that elevates all of us." Sarah raised her eyebrows, clearly intrigued. "I think it could be amazing. Those connections are like buried treasure. We just have to dust them off." Mia felt a flicker of hope amidst the uncertainty. The idea of embracing vulnerability, the very thing that once crippled her, now appeared as a gateway towards personal and professional resilience. Yet, as they continued their conversation about shared goals, a heavy cloud of nostalgia loomed. Thinking back on those friendships, Mia confronted another question. What if they didn't welcome this ambition? What if her attempts to reconnect failed? The doubts returned, sharper and more accusing than before. As Sarah shared her own recent challenges, Mia realized this recent meeting had unlocked a potential lag of mutual support. Could she reconcile the desire to forge ahead with her ambition while restoring old relationships that had once propelled her? The potential for acceptance danced on the periphery of her thoughts, a double-edged sword. Leaning forward, determined to confront her fears, she smiled at Sarah. "Let's plan a dinner, invite a few others. Let's reignite those connections." But deep in her gut, she felt the knot. How would they react? Would they cheer or contest her audacity to dream? As her heart raced with anticipation, Mia realized that every step towards authentic ambition required the courage to face not only the unknown, but also the ghosts from her past. The balance between vulnerability and ambition hung precariously, and the suspense of this newfound journey beckoned ominously. Her phone chimed, an unfamiliar message that read, "Mia, it's been a while. Can we talk? I have something important to discuss." Was it someone from her past who could either root her forward or pull her down? Mia's breath caught, her entire being poised on the edge of discovery. Mia stared at her phone, her heart hammering against her chest as the 3 ellipses blinked on the screen, indicating the sender was typing. The name that filled the screen sent a bolt of memory through her veins. Ethan. Once a close friend, their lives had drifted apart amid the noise of career ambitions and personal choices. "Is this really what I want to revisit?" she wondered, already sensing the emotional turbulence that Ethan represented. Reconnecting with him could mean unearthing feelings she had buried and confronting decisions that defined her northward trajectory. She hesitated, fingers itching to respond, but instead turned toward her notebook. The inviting blank pages seemed to call out to her, offering a canvas for her thoughts and fears. What would it mean to navigate this relationship again? She began to question. Each stroke of her pen became an exploration of potential consequences that settled like dust over the remnants of their friendship. What would Ethan's message entail? Would he be open to supporting her, or would he question the path she had taken? It felt like stepping onto a tightrope, balancing the old and the new, with a driving wind of uncertainty pushing her toward one edge or the other. "Mia." Sarah's voice broke her concentration, pulling her back to the cafe's cozy surroundings. "Are you all right?" Realizing how far she had drifted into thought, Mia took a deep breath. "Yeah, just caught off guard by a message." "From Ethan?" Sarah immediately picked up on the shift in Mia's energy. Mia nodded, the knot tightening in her stomach. "He wants to talk. It's been forever." Sarah offered a warm smile, one that suggested camaraderie and solidarity. "Sounds like a chance to reconnect." "What are your worries?" Mia sighed, the weight of her self-doubts surfacing like stubborn shadows. "I just don't know if he'd understand what I'm trying to accomplish now. What if he doesn't believe in my vision?" "Or," added Sarah thoughtfully, "maybe he's going through his own transformation and can relate more than you think. Sometimes we underestimate the change in people." Mia considered this, reflecting on how her own motivations had shifted. Each step away from those familiar comforts had brought her closer to understanding her true ambitions. Perhaps it was time to take that leap into the unknown. With each consideration, a flicker of determination ignited within her. "You're right. I've grown, and maybe I should believe that others have too." Mia decided to respond to Ethan, but paused for a moment to consult her notebook again. She needed to draft a message that not only invited conversation, but filled it with openness, an invitation to vulnerability. This time, she would lead with authenticity and purpose. Before she began typing, however, another thought struck her. What if this interaction could lead to the very collaboration she had been longing for? The idea that a renewed connection with Ethan might amplify her work spun her into exhilaration, drowning her initial reservations. As she composed her message, revealing only a touch of her current ambitions, she felt a blast of nostalgia entwined with anticipation. Each word became a stepping stone, both towards professional collaboration and personal reconciliation. The act of sending it became a declaration of her determination to act on her vision. She clicked send, her heart racing. The rush of hope and anxiety intertwined within her, leaving her breathless. "Mia, what are you thinking?" Sarah's voice interrupted, her gaze deep with concern and curiosity. "I just reached out." She managed to smile, although relief and fear warred inside. "To see where this conversation leads." "Good for you," Sarah beamed. "It's a step forward. You might surprise yourself. Just remember to focus on what you want, and go for it." Mia nodded, absorbing Sarah's encouragement, stepping at the edge of a precipice. Every decision was a chance to harness the past. Just as she felt a wave of reassurance, her phone buzzed again. A response from Ethan came through almost instantly. "I was hoping you'd want to catch up. There's something I really want to discuss with you, too." As Mia's eyes darted across the screen, the atmosphere shifted. Those fleeting words held promise and trepidation. What revelations were brewing beneath the cordial surface? With her pulse racing, she sensed a profound moment ahead. Not just in terms of the conversation with Ethan, but in embracing the uncertainty that came with it. The stakes had risen, and Mia knew that whatever lay ahead could potentially change the course of her journey. Would Ethan provide the insight she sought, or perhaps even challenge her ambitions further? As she prepared to formulate her response, a haunting question echoed through her mind. Was she ready to confront the parts of her past that could either lift her higher or pull her deeper into the shadows? Her breath caught once more, as she intertwined her fate with the unpredictable tides of connection and ambition. Mia realized that she was no longer simply a product of her past. She was becoming an architect of her future, each interaction guiding her closer to clarity. Now the weight of her choices hung limply in the air, teetering on the brink of transformation. Mia steeled herself as she glanced at the phone again. Ethan's quick reply had set her heart racing in unexpected ways. The prospect of their coming conversation pushed her to ponder the weight of their shared history. What did she truly want from this meeting? The question lingered, gnawing at her confidence. Determined to quell her anxiety, she took a sip of her now cold coffee, shivering slightly at the bitterness. Sarah's encouraging expression echoed in her mind. This was an opportunity, a chance to possibly realign her past with her present ambitions. But how much of her past was she willing to unpack? As she mulled it over, she pulled out her notebook again. The fierce, intimate space where she wrestled with her goals would not abandon her now. She flipped through pages filled with sketches, ambitious notes about her projects, and snippets of conversations that had sparked new ideas. Amidst it all, she traced her finger across the lines as if they could lead her to answers. Ethan had always been an insightful collaborator, but would he still be that person after all this time? What if he dismisses my goals? Her internal dialogue spiraled. What if he's still caught in everything I've moved beyond? With each thought, determination flickered again. She was not that hesitant girl from years ago. She was someone who had reinvented herself, moving through the tumult of late-night brainstorming and countless rejections. Each setback became a lesson etched into her being, fueling the fire of her aspirations. Suddenly, returning to Ethan could either ignite her old dreams or nudge her toward new ones. Caught in this pulse of excitement and dread, she decided that her first step was to articulate what she had to share clearly. She took a deep breath and drafted a few bullet points before typing. She needed to balance her narrative, a mixture of vulnerability and ambition. Acknowledging their past while showcasing her present was essential, both as a friend and as a professional. With newfound clarity swirling in her mind, Mia composed her response. I'd love to catch up, but I want to share where I'm at too. I think we both have gone through a lot and have unique perspectives we could share. When are you free? Clicking send felt monumental, as if she had cast her net into unknown waters, hopeful for what might come back. While waiting for Ethan's reply, she felt an unfamiliar surge of self-assurance. Was she ready? She tapped her fingers on the table, her mind running through potential scenarios, each one more thrilling than the last. Would he be curious about her entrepreneurial ventures? Would he be supportive or, worse, indifferent? Mia glanced around the cafe, noticing the hustle of life swirling around her. Each conversation, each laugh, gave her energy. She willed herself to embrace the uncertainty, recognizing it as part of her development. Each interaction she'd engaged in had chipped away at her insecurities, sculpting her into a version of herself who was unafraid to take risks. Her phone lit up again, vibrating with intensity that echoed her racing heartbeat. A message from Ethan. I have some exciting news too. Let's talk soon? Her pulse quickened at the suggestion of shared excitement, but equally a knot of apprehension formed. What could he possibly be planning? The prospect of hearing about Ethan's journey both invigorated and unsettled her. In that moment, the stakes seemed higher than before. This conversation could either confirm her trajectory or shift her entirely. Was she ready for the emotional complexity that came with both revisiting old ties and opening herself up to potential professional collaborations? As her thumb hovered over the keyboard, she realized this wasn't just about reconnecting with Ethan. It was an examination of her growth, testing how far she had come and how her past could redefine her future. Mia, are you okay? Sarah's voice echoed again, a reminder of the supportive presence beside her. She nodded but felt a storm of anticipation brewing within her. Definitely. Things are about to get interesting. With that, she decided to step into the unknown, knowing that embracing uncertainty was part of the journey ahead. The next chapter of her story was waiting just outside the boundaries she had carefully constructed. What lay ahead was still a mystery, but one thing was for certain. Mia was ready to face whatever revelations awaited her in the depths of reconnecting with someone who once deeply understood her. How transformative could this meeting be? The weight of possibility hung in the air, electrifying and alive. With each step forward, Mia felt an exhilarating mix of trepidation and empowerment. Reconnecting with people from her past, especially Ethan, had ignited a fire in her that she hadn't realized was dormant. Their upcoming conversation had become more than a casual catch-up. It was now a pivotal moment to redefine not just their relationship, but her own ambitions. Arriving at the cafe that fateful afternoon, she noticed the vibrant life around her, the chatter of patrons, the aroma of fresh coffee blending with baked goods, and the familiar warmth from the barista who had once known her order by heart. Yet today, she was different. She had transformed, awakened by the sparks of enlightenment she had exchanged with Tyler and Max. Her story was no longer tethered solely to ambition, but interwoven with the willingness to embrace vulnerability. When she spotted Ethan entering, her heart raced. He looked different, yet somehow the same, an amalgamation of shared memories and uncharted futures. Their eyes met, and in that fleeting moment, a wave of nostalgia washed over her. Everything they'd endured, the laughter and disconnect, coursed back into her consciousness, weaving an intricate tapestry of emotions. "Mia!" Ethan exclaimed, his smile genuine but laced with an uncertainty she could see beneath the surface. "It's great to see you." "You too," she replied, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of thoughts swirling in her mind. "I'm really looking forward to this." They settled into a corner table, and as they exchanged pleasantries, Mia felt the weight of the past gradually ease, creating space for new dialogue. "So, what's this project you're working on?" Ethan asked, leaning in with genuine interest. The sincerity in his eyes pushed Mia to shed her reservations. Her fears of judgment seemed to recede. Mia took a deep breath and plunged into her new vision. "I'm redefining how I approach success. It's not just about personal accolades anymore. I want to elevate others along the way," she articulated, her words seamless and filled with enthusiasm. "I'm looking to connect with local businesses and foster a supportive network." Ethan nodded, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. "That sounds exciting. I had my own share of realizations recently. I've also been rethinking what success means to me. It turns out it's not just a race for the top." Their shared exploration became the cornerstone of their reunion, a revitalizing exchange that paved the way for personal revelations. As they conversed, Mia felt barriers dissolve, their connection rekindled with shared dreams and mutual aspirations, albeit repainted in hues of new understanding. As the conversation grew deeper, Mia revealed her internal journey, not just about her ambitions, but her commitment to authenticity. "I realize the importance of embracing vulnerability. It's become essential for me to face not only my goals, but also the fears that come with them. I want to build something meaningful, something that can outlast the struggle for power." Ethan's expression changed, moving from a flicker of surprise to genuine admiration. "That's incredibly profound, Mia. I've been feeling similarly. The pursuit of ambition can often lead to isolation rather than connection." "Exactly. I believe partnerships can elevate our paths without sacrificing our values," she reinforced, her voice filled with conviction. "And I want to bring my friends into that narrative." Ethan paused, searching her face. "I'd love to be part of that journey. If you're willing, I can help connect you to people I know. Let's make this a collaborative effort." The warmth of his offer sparked exhilaration within Mia. The past delineations of their friendship had morphed into something alive with possibility, and for the first time, she felt fully seen, not only as Mia, the ambitious one, but as a complex individual yearning for authentic connections. "Mia," he continued, a hint of vulnerability creeping into his tone. "The truth is, everyone I once strove to impress has drifted into the background. I want to build something real too. Can we explore this venture together?" Mia's heart swelled. "Absolutely together," she responded, her voice reflecting the heartfelt sincerity of the moment. Together they began sketching ideas on napkins, laughter punctuating their brainstorming as they relished in their rediscovered camaraderie. Each shared intention solidified their partnership, momentum generating a palpable energy that energized everything around them. Soon caffeine-fueled excitement led them to a plan, hosting a local event focusing on collaborative opportunities between aspiring entrepreneurs, one that brought together individuals who shared a vision for mutual growth. The tangible achievements unfolding between them felt electric, a weaving of paths that had once seemed isolating but now echoed with harmony and recognition. As they left the cafe armed with ideas, Mia glanced back one last time, realizing how far she had come. In reclaiming these connections, she had not only transformed her trajectory, but had simultaneously begun to reshape the narrative of her life. Her achievements now felt genuinely remarkable, not because of accolades, but due to her commitment to authenticity, community, and mutual upliftment. Filled with renewed hope and excitement, Mia walked alongside Ethan, no longer just two ambitious individuals drifting in the sea of success, but rather friends actively crafting their destinies. emphasizing interconnectedness. "Let's do this together," she said, her voice a vibrant call for collaboration hanging in the air. Each step felt woven with newfound clarity and purpose, a cementing affirmation that real ambition thrived in vinculum rather than isolation. Now was the moment of transformation, and Mia held the reins of her journey firmly. Her path was not just paved with determination, but enriched by the bonds she chose to nurture moving forward. This was a journey that had grown deeper than she ever anticipated, yet she was ready to embrace it wholeheartedly. A journey not only forged in ambition, but celebrated in unity, where they would redefine success together, one collaboration at a time. The transformative ripple of her evolution beckoned, calling for others, friends old and new, to gather and join her. With every connection made, her life's tapestry only became richer, unified by dreams reborn and ambitions reignited. Mia had conquered doubt. She had proved that pursuit could be collaborative, and recognition could be a shared experience. The stage was set for her and Ethan to build a legacy defined not by wealth alone, but by meaningful impact, one that breathed life into their combined vision. The journey awaited. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.